Oops, did I win? Oh, did I win something? Jesus Christ. Yeah, we finally took a trade. This is, finally took a W trade. Took a trade period. So this is the second official trade of the Mafufu. And, it was a W. It'll show up here in an hour. But I got stuff to do. So, but you can see here, 667, baby. 673. That is how many points? Who knows? Took one trade today, caught the W. I think I mentioned yesterday. Oh, I did do a little. Oh yeah, I was just testing out if it would work pre-market. And it did, and I took my trade pre-market too. So I was done before 9, but I did leave I know I said I wasn't going to focus on this, but because it was pre-market, I decided to stay. Not close the laptop. We almost got a couple of setups. There were some crazy moves. You can see here, this is the trade. You can see how small it was in comparison to the whole day. But I'm happy with that. 675 is nothing to shake your nuts at when your profit target is 3K. All right, so we're, what is that, 20% of the way there? Something like that. So that's awesome. Try not to get too cocky. Trying to keep it cool, keep it on the DL, you know what I'm saying? But it's cold as a bitch in here, So pre-market was just nice little, boing boing, stair step. We kind of see this sometimes. It just makes nice, clean moves. Sometimes I just wish I could trade these. He'll do this like 3 or 4 times in a row. Just make these cute little steps that work out really nicely. But I'm not awake at 1. And actually, I was awake at 1 in the morning, but I was working or something. Emphasis on or something. So then we got a couple of moves. I don't know what's going to happen today, like macro-wise, because yesterday was that crazy sell-off. We had a huge rebound. So I'm really thinking like we could retrace back down. We could buy back up. I mean, you could see there's some delta here, divergence. So plus, not to mention the wick. So I think buyers are coming back into the market over. I think that just shook everyone a little bit. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but we got this nice zone up here. I was looking for this thing, but I was looking for this pre-market zone. You see that we do make a higher low, but it doesn't go anywhere. And then we just don't get a good reaction off that zone. Fellas, the market's going to tell you what it wants to do most of the time. I think the more I look at this supply and demand stuff, the more I'm like, okay, the reactions to the zone are telling. You just have to listen, and you have to not FOMO. Like this one right here. So it started to go back up, and I was thinking these aren't the best zones, but these are zones. And I'm thinking this one is being right above this one. This one could be less important, or it could be a little fake, which is kind of what happened. So what I'm trying to say is to try to be less anxious about your zones or your entries, because the market will generally tell you what to do, and you just have to be strict about it. If I was looking at this and I was like, oh, look at that nice wick, I'm going to take that long. But there is a big red body on this candle. It did technically close inside this zone. That's why there are rules. That's why we have rules surrounding supply and demand zones. This, you had a little wick on the bottom, so it didn't close in the zone right away. But you see how long it takes. It just spends a lot of time right here. And this green candle starts to look like, oh, maybe it'll break out upwards. No. It's just got that wick on top, and you have all this consolidation. So this price action is just telling you what is going on here, what it's inclined to do. But as for the trade I actually did take, I didn't get in aggressive because I wasn't sure still. I was kind of thinking we could still go up here. And this wasn't the best zone, honestly. I mean, you don't see a big gap, but you do see a pretty good impulse down. This wick. So honestly, not the best zone, but I'm also looking more at this structure of like, this high doesn't get taken out. This high doesn't get taken out. This low gets taken out down here. The one that I drew over here. This one. Okay. So then what do we have? We have a nice impulse upwards. It goes straight above the zone, above the 200 EMA, and then it just comes straight back. It just flips straight back down. So it's this candle right here, with the really convincing wick. There's a little bit of wick in the bottom, so going short is a little sketchy, but very convincing wick. Delta divergence, that red dot at the top, saying that, you know, volume is changing, a little bearish, despite this being a high. So we could have a reversal around here, and we did. So, but it did go up, like almost right away. It went back up, but it didn't go. So I wasn't in, and it went up. It didn't get to the high, and then it started going down. And at that point, I placed a limit order down here.
Order rejected.
Yeah, placed a limit order right there, and that's where I got in. I took it down because I was still like, okay, maybe it's gonna. This is kind of greedy thinking because I've done it in the past, but you can take this, scalp this down to the next zone, and then if you get a good reaction off that zone, get out and reverse your position upwards to the, or whatever the other side is. But I just decided to get out at this zone. Could have gone to that low for sure. But again, I just wasn't 100% on the directionality, so I wanted to take a little scalp. And dude, I haven't been in like in a trade with this stake in a while, so it just, you forget how emotional it is. I almost closed out or increased my take profit. Well, moved up my take profit because this thing was starting to wick at the bottom. I was like, ooh, maybe it's going to reverse earlier than I thought. But, you know, that's also something that can be avoided by closing the laptop when you enter the trade. Just close it. Just accept your risk and close it. But, yeah, if you had a runner there where I drew out these levels from pre-market, it doesn't make it all the way down to this super low, or this low. It kind of just bounces. So you know, you can't pick tops and bottoms. It would be hard to pick that. But you could have targeted this low, maybe the next low, and made some good money on that. I think that was like, you could have made like the pretty much $3,000 that you need on this one. That was 2,500, 125 points. So that was a good move, but that obviously reversed. So if you kind of zoom out, there's all these levels of these lows, these kind of points of liquidity, and it just drew into them and took that back up. And I was looking at this high to be broken, because now I'm thinking, okay, if we're going to flip the EMA, again, not the best zone here, but this could be a place for it to come back down and reverse. It didn't, and then we got a nice impulse here, so I'm thinking maybe this is an area to reverse. It didn't come back down, and then at that point, I mean, this move happened at noon, and then you can just see it loses some conviction till the afternoon, and then there's nothing. So, but yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. I mean, look how small that trade is in the scheme of things. But I just didn't have. I was kind of looking back here for like maybe another demand zone got formed that would bounce off of, but I didn't see anything that within my rule set that would lead to that. You can see the volume day volume profile. I want to start. I don't want to start using it right away, but this is one thing that I want to study is the volume profile. I think it will help you. I think price-based supply and demand zones are kind of a proxy for what's going on in volume. And if you can combine price action and volume, you'll be in a good spot. Give you the right confluences. Tell you. I mean, look, like this was a super high volume level. The problem with this is it only it shows you as the day develops, but now this is the volume profile for the entire day. I can't go back and say like, okay, what did it look like when I was taking my short? What does it look like at this zone? Blah blah blah. But you can see where volume is happening, and price will kind of sweep through these lower volume areas like you see it doing here. That's right on this lower volume area. Kind of similar thing going on here. Price sweeping through there. So, and yeah, down here too, like you can see this was super low volume on the edge of the profile. And this is just where it came down. It stopped finding orders, which is why the volume goes down. There's just like no orders down here. And if there's no orders down here, price is not going to stay down here. If there's no orders below here, price isn't going to keep looking for orders below here. Price is going to go where the orders are. And the orders built back up top. So that's probably a bunch of nonsense. I'm so tired. Got like 4 hours of sleep this week. That's fine. But yeah, I was rewarded today for being patient. Like, again, when did I start this? January 17th. Wow, really? Yeah, January 17th. So I think that's the takeaway here, boys. I sat through 5 days last week, took one trade, sat through yesterday. Today I saw a setup, took it, and it was a nice one. I might not see another setup this week. I might. Gonna keep my eyes peeled. Not gonna get too excited. I'm glad I have some profits. I want to keep those. And yeah, dude, it just might take some time, man. Just let it come to you.